I'm David. Nice to meet you all. How many of you are totally pumped to start your day with a school assembly? Raise your hand. I used to be so excited when I heard those magic words that today was not going to be a regular school day, and we got like 35 or 45 minutes off, and I didn't have to go to math class or social studies or whatever that normal class was that I was kind of maybe not looking forward to. Whatever that class was in the morning, I got to listen to some dude come and ramble about something that hopefully was entertaining, but no guarantees. So hopefully I will keep you entertained for a few minutes here. I'm going to share with you some things that I've learned and some things that I've gone through. I get to go all over the world and talk with people about entrepreneurship. I've done some exciting things and had some opportunities to learn some unique things from some challenges that I've overcome, and hopefully you guys can relate with it. I'm not that young, but I'm about 33 years old and had some really unique experiences that hopefully you guys can relate to. So you're probably wondering a little bit about who the heck is this guy standing in front of you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I'm a husband. I'm married. My wife's name is Erin. You just heard it. We have a few dogs. We have a little mini farm practically at my house. We tend to hoard animals. Any of you ever seen that hoarder show where people have trash stacked up to their ceilings? That's kind of like us with animals. We find injured animals or wandering animals or anything. We like to just collect them in our house and take care of them. My wife used to be a vet tech, and so we just love on animals. I'm a dog dad and a chicken dad. We've had anywhere from 5 chickens to 20 chickens, depending on however many end up at our house at any random time. And we've even had show chickens. And so we've had, for instance, this chicken here, that's Corn Puff. Corn Puff is one of those chickens with afros. Have any of you ever seen those before? They're the chickens that have hair. They're really cool. So if you were to come by my house on like a Saturday night, when most cool people are out partying and living it up, my wife and I, you might catch us in the bathroom shampooing our chickens and blow drying them and fixing their hair, because that's how we do. We're on fleek with our chickens. And so oftentimes, though, more than likely you find me signing autographs because people confuse me for Miley Cyrus. And it's just a common thing that happens, and I'm so used to it now. I came in like a wrecking ball. And so I'm just so used to it happening. People ask me to sing for them. I do it. And, I'm just down like that. And of course, I once was in middle school, and I once was a middle school hottie. You can see me there with my Charlotte Hornets hat on in the blue. I don't even know if Charlotte Hornets is still a basketball team, but that is me rolling with my homies. And I was once a very cool kid in my middle school days. Maybe not. But so to start off, I want to tell you a little bit about my first job ever. When I was 14 years old, I knew I wanted to learn how to start making money, and I was too young to go out and get a job permit. And so I couldn't go and start getting like a real job with a paycheck and have a W-2 and all that type of stuff. And so my dad had gone out and bought a computer. And back in those days, not everybody had computers because they were really expensive. And so my dad had gone out and bought a Gateway computer. And it was big. And back then, computers weren't the size of this MacBook Air. Computers were big and heavy. And printers were big and heavy. And my dad said, hey, you want a job? You want to make money? Then go upstairs and print out some flyers and get on your bike and tell every old person in this neighborhood that you'll mow their lawn for money. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'll bet somebody around here will hire you to mow their lawn. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, just go upstairs and do that. So I hopped upstairs on our Gateway, and back then, keyboards, they weren't like they are today. Like back then, you got little muscles on your fingers because the keys, you had to hammer those puppies, and you could hear them. Like if somebody was trying to sleep in the next room, it was like, dun, 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 as you're typing on those keyboards, making up this flyer. And so I went up there, and I hammered out a keyboard, and I hammered out this flyer saying, I'm willing to mow your lawn for $25. And I printed out about 35 of those puppies, and I hopped on my bicycle, and I drove all around Windham handing these out. And I met this old man named Mr. Johnson who lived near the Windham Rotary. Have any of you been in Windham? Do you know the Rotary, the circle? And if you drove past the circle, there's that massive field, and then there's a log cabin up there. Well, there was an old dude up there who hired me to mow a portion of that lawn. Not that massive field, but the portion that he actually lived on. He hired me to work on his lawn. And I got up there and he said, absolutely. He's like, I need some help with landscaping. He said, I need somebody to help me lay down some sod. And sod is grass that comes in rolls. It's a neat concept. It's like basically you don't have time to lay down seed. You buy grass and it's a roll and you kick it out and it just goes out. It's like the lazy man's version of laying down grass. She's like, I need somebody to help me do that. So I did that, and he paid me pretty good money for a young guy. And he even went out and bought me lunch. But the best part was, he showed me his airplane hangar, which is where you store an airplane. And I'm like, holy cow, people have airplanes? Like, this is before Instagram, when you could fantasize about what people have that normal people don't have. And I'm like, holy mother, how do you have an airplane? And he shows me his airplane. I'm like, this is nuts. And then he starts telling me, he's like, oh yeah, and he's like, well, and my daughter's on the LPGA. I'm like, my Lanta. And he starts telling me about some of the options he has. And he tells me about he's an entrepreneur. And then he tells me that just a few years prior to that, he had a water slide set up that went down that hill. I was just a few years too young to ever get to experience that. It's like, man. And he's like, yeah, David, he's like, it's amazing the things that you can do if you just have options. He's like, all these things I was able to do. He's like, yeah, he's like, just go out. And as an entrepreneur, you can really create some amazing options in your life. So that was pretty sweet. So I spent my summer with him, and he kind of mentored me and told me a lot about these various things he was able to do in his life. My next job, though, came along, and I had a guy who came to me and said, hey, you're a big guy, and I'd like to hire you. If you'd like to help me, I need help building a roof and doing some roofing, and I need some big, strong kid to come and help me lug shingles up this ladder and lay them down and we're going to build houses. And he's like, and you look like you'd really like this. Now, there's a few things you need to know about me. A, I don't like heights. B, I'm not the skinniest man on earth, so putting a big guy on a roof that's thin is not a good idea. And C, I don't like to get my hands dirty, and I'm terrible at building things. So he hired me for about 4 hours until he fired me. And so I figured out, okay, hold on, skill set, not good at building things, not good at getting dirty. So I quickly was figuring out, okay, things I'm good at. I'm good at talking with people. I'm good at getting people excited about things. And I'm good at learning about entrepreneurship. I'm good at going out and selling people ideas and concepts. And I'm terrible at building things. Okay, we're figuring things out. The next job I went out and found was in Windham, Maine. There used to be a bookstore that sold used books. It was a sweet job. I got hired to go in, and I got just people would bring me their used books. We'd buy them all, and then we'd turn around and we'd resell them. At 16 years old, I got to be the manager. There's one terrible thing that began to happen, though. The woman ran out of money. She forgot to pay me, and within a few months, she owed me a lot of money, and things started to get pretty bad. But it was neat. And before I knew it, I was at my senior year. I was in prom. It was my senior year. Life was sweet. I went out and bought this really awesome bright red zoot suit. I dyed my hair to match it. My poor date didn't know. So I showed up my senior year with my hair matching my prom suit. And poor Chrissy had no idea. But it was really exciting. Life was perfect. It was headed exactly where I wanted to go. I had all these goals and dreams of what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be like Mr. Johnson, and my mom used to tell me, David, all you got to do is set your mind to what you want to do, say what you want to be in life, have some written goals, and pursue it, and you can do it. So I knew exactly what I wanted to be doing. I knew I wanted to own my own business. I knew I wanted to be rich. Back then, that meant financially. I had no idea all the other ways you could be rich in life. And I knew I wanted to help people because I really enjoyed helping people. There were a few things I didn't know, though. And what I didn't know is at that senior prom, I had cancer from my neck to my waist. And so as I flew to Houston, Texas for a completely unrelated surgery, the doctor went in and found a 6-inch tumor around my heart. And as he began to explore through my stomach, he found cancer from here to here. And it was crazy. I was about to go into my freshman year of college at SMCC. I was really into weightlifting. I was playing college soccer. And I remember waking up from the surgery, and I looked at the doctor, and I go, what do you mean I have cancer? And he goes, David, I had no idea. You have no signs and you have no symptoms. And I looked at him, I go, am I going to die? And Dr. Jim Garza looks at me and says, you might. Well, thanks for the comforting words. Geez, thanks for the vote of confidence. But if you want to talk about your life changing in an instant, and suddenly realizing that life is so short at a young age, you hear those words. I'll bet some of you have friends who have gone through that same issue. Or probably some of you have, or you've had a family member who's been touched by that. Where suddenly life stops at an instant. Where a family member is touched by a disease, or a challenge where you lose somebody unexpectedly. And you don't know what to do. It was crazy. I had all these life goals, all these things I knew what I wanted to be doing, and suddenly I was faced with something I didn't expect. Suddenly something came out of the blue, and there was no signs and no symptoms, and it certainly wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And I went from being this really cool guy with bright red hair, with a really sweet suit, to being a 20-year-old dude about to go through 6 months of chemotherapy, 14 weeks of radiation, but at least I did get a chihuahua out of it, and her name was Gizmo. Which brings me to talking about having dreams versus timing. So I had all these dreams. I knew I wanted to own my own business one day. I grew up in a family where I was told I could do anything. I could do anything. If I just set my mind to it, I could do anything, be anything, pursue anything. Financially, career-wise, I knew it. Absolute confidence. But there is a thing that comes along with being a dreamer, and that's responsibility and timing. So when I had cancer, there's one thing I couldn't do, and that was run away from the responsibility of having insurance and being able to be treated for the sickness that I had. And so sometimes what happens is when we're pursuing our dreams, there's delays that come along that we didn't plan for, but those delays provide for us a chance to get even better at our skill set. So that when the timing is right, things are really, really great. Sometimes what seems like a setback is actually a chance to take a moment to sharpen your skill set and get even better at your passion. You see, what I found was that when I had cancer, that gave me an opportunity to stay in college for a while longer, because originally I thought I was going to drop out. Man, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to have some gigantic field someday with water slides. Man, I was picturing myself, I want a gigantic field in Wyndham someday, and I want water slides, and I want cows, and I want chickens, and I want cool things happening. I want to own my own business. I want to be rich. I want planes. I want to do all this cool stuff. I don't know how I'm going to do any of it, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to jump, and things are going to happen. Well, guess what? I got sick, and that stuff slowed me down. I had to step back. I had to make a plan. And it gave me an opportunity to sharpen my skill set. And it slowed things down. And that delay was exactly what I needed. So sometimes setbacks are exactly what you need. So they seem like the end of the world. But it's not. It's the world actually coming together. And the best part is your age doesn't determine your ability to make a difference in the world. One of the things I realized is when I came through cancer, I suddenly had an ability to relate with a whole lot more people in this world. There's challenges that you're going to go through right now at a young age that give you the ability to relate with other people. Things that you're going to overcome right now that give you the ability to relate with other people that other people can't. Challenges that you're going to overcome that you can turn around and you can use that to help other people. You might be being bullied right now and you say, man, this is the worst thing I've ever been through. Why am I going through this? Well, that worst thing you're going through right now, guess what? There's other people going through that. And this might be your opportunity to say, wow, this is terrible. This might be my opportunity to be a leader, though. I'm getting set up to be a leader. This is my responsibility. I just lost somebody close to me. What can I take from this? How can I use this to relate with other people? How can I use this to help other people? My mother used to tell me that when I'm having a horrible day, go ahead and use this to help someone. Man, that's hard to do. I'm having a horrible day today. She'd say, go out and help somebody. What? This day sucks. Go out and help somebody. I don't want to do that. You want to turn your day around? Go out and do something nice for somebody. You're getting bullied, treated like trash? Go out and help somebody. You want to turn what's happening around you to something positive? Go out and help somebody. So life continued to happen with me. I survived cancer, obviously. Otherwise, I'd be a really sweet hologram. I got married. I walked into a pet store in Scarborough, Maine named Paws Applause where my wife was standing there grooming dogs. I hung out for about 2.5 hours until she finally asked me out because I didn't have the guts to ask her out. She did ask me out. I capitalized on it, asked her to marry me 6 months later. We got married about 9 weeks after that. And we've been married now for about 9 years. We were pumped. Things got serious. We had our first kid. Her name is Cherry. She's a Pomeranian. And, and shortly after that, we had 5 more kids, and they're all chickens. And things have been great. So life was happening, right? We were rolling. We got married. We went to Bermuda for a honeymoon. Things were sweet. I knew what I wanted to happen, right? I was ready. All right, now's my chance. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. I got my dreams. I've got my wife. Things are on track. I know what I want to do. I knew I married the right woman. I knew I want to pursue my dreams. I knew I wanted to meet Santa in person, which I did when I was in Charleston, South Carolina. We both happened to be seeing Avatar at the same night. It was crazy. Couldn't believe it was happening. The scent of peppermint was in the air. I saw a red glow, and I turned around, and the man himself was standing next to me. That has nothing to do with anything, but just shows you that he exists. And I was in the Arctic Circle, and what do you know? But what I didn't know was as we were traveling through Bermuda on our honeymoon, my wife kept complaining about these stomach pains she was having. And I thought she was just sick and tired of hearing me talk. And I thought it's just her way of like, hey, chill out. We've only known each other for like 7.5 months. Go play in the casino. What I had no idea, though, was that my wife was suddenly was developing this issue called chronic pancreatitis, which is a big, long story, and you can Google it someday when you get bored. But moral of the story is it's really super, super painful. And she ended up being sick for the next 7.5 years. And it was crazy. We ended up being in the emergency room 2 to 3 times a month for the better part of the first 7 years of our marriage. So again, we go back to dreams and timing and delay, right? Because I had all these dreams. I knew I wanted to start my own business. I knew what I wanted to be doing. I knew where we wanted to be going. And we had all these dreams and goals, but things were being delayed. You ever have something you really want to be doing and things just keep getting delayed? Why is this happening? Why do setbacks keep happening? Man, how do things keep getting worse? Right? You ever think like, man, just things keep getting worse. I just keep getting kicked when I'm knocked down. Right? Sometimes life just hurts. Right? Man, I got all these goals. I know what I want to be doing with my life. I tried so hard to pass that test. I studied all night long, and I just failed again. Man, I looked over that guy's shoulder. I knew he was smarter than me, and I still failed. I didn't know that teacher passed out 2 different versions of the test. How was I supposed to know? I thought I was going to do really good this time. Right? Sometimes we have delays, right? We have these goals, we have these dreams. And delays, but sometimes the delays are preparations for where we're headed. So how can we get over these delays? Well, having written goals can make getting over these delays a whole lot easier. Any of you have written goals? Written goals can help you a lot. Right? If you take time today and write down some goals of where you want to be headed. Right? So you're in 7th grade, and you're thinking about what you want to be doing. I want to be a zoologist someday. I want to graduate college someday. I want to make it to 8th grade. Here's what I want to be doing this summer. Gives you a pathway, helps you develop a map. Goals give you something to focus on when times are tough and dreams are delayed. Right? Having those goals gives you something to think about. Having these goals give you something to focus on when you're getting picked on. When you're thinking about where you're headed, right? If the haters are coming after you and you're thinking about, what am I doing with my life? If you're getting bullied and you're trying to think about, what do I want to be doing, or how can I get over this? Well, now you have a new focus. Can I find another path? You can set goals by making a list. You can list your goals so I can go over them or review them. You can keep track of them. You can have mentors. Do you know how easy it is to find a mentor when you're young? You think about all the cool things you want to do in your life. When you're young, you have youth and innocence on your side. And you can start thinking about, boy, this is what I'd really love to be doing with my life.
I'd really love to be a famous musician, or I'd really love to be an artist, or I'd really love to be like this person. I'd encourage you to reach out to that person. Send them a letter, a handwritten letter. Those things require paper, envelope, and a stamp. But they work. And they don't happen very often anymore. But they're very effective. And mentors, reach out to people who are where you want to be in life. And ask them how they got there and if they'd be willing to coach you and teach you how to become who you want to become. Maybe you have financial goals of what you want to do. Maybe you have work goals. Goals of the things you want to achieve. Maybe you love animals and you're trying to figure out how you become somebody who can work with animals for the rest of your life. So you volunteer at a shelter. Then someday you work at a pet store and you find a mentor and you read a lot about it. Then you reach out to the 3 most successful people in that field. And you don't look for the easiest way out. Some final thoughts from my mother. You know, it only takes a second to make somebody's day better. It only takes a second to compliment somebody. It only takes a second to turn your life around. It only takes a second to make somebody feel really awesome. It only takes a second to really screw up your life too. I work in social media for a living, right? I sit on Facebook, Twitter, all of them, all day long. That's what we do for all kinds of companies all over the world. Can I tell you what we do when people apply to work for us or when people apply to work for our clients? The first thing we do is Google their name. And then we run a complete background check on them. And we look at every single picture that they've posted online. We look at every single video that they've done. And can I just tell you that any picture you've ever taken on your cell phone or posted online never disappears. And so it only takes a second to really mess things up for a very, very long time. And it only takes a second to make somebody feel really great. And if you can't think of anything nice to say, you're not working hard enough. Any of you ever heard of Kid President? Isn't he awesome? And finally, I tell you, choose your friends wisely. Right? When you think about who you associate with, it's so hard to pull yourself away from a pack of friends when they're headed one direction and you want to change your own direction. Right? When you're thinking about, okay, these are my goals in life, and these are where my friends are headed. And if you think about, this is what I want to be doing in life, and I really want to change my direction in life, but my friends are headed kind of the opposite direction. And lots of times what happens is we think, hey, if I stay here, I can help my friends make better decisions. That's really tough to do. You know what the best way is to change your friends' directions? Is just go ahead and change yourself, and they'll come around. They'll come around. They'll see the change within you, and they'll ask about it. But your friends, they will affect you forever. And my mother used to tell me the 2 things that will affect you most in life are the books you read and the people you hang around with. So choose your friends and your crowd wisely. And the last thing I would ask you is, why not you? Your age has nothing to do with how much you can affect this world. You're sitting here right now, and there's so much you can do at your age right now. The internet is the great equalizer. With what you can do, the power you have, with just the power of your cell phone and the internet, there's amazing things you can do to affect change. You want to see things happen right now, you can do it. There's nothing holding you back. The connections you can make, I would highly encourage you. You have goals and dreams that you want to accomplish this summer. There's nothing holding you back from pursuing them. You can absolutely accomplish them. There's young people all over this globe changing the world just by taking action. There's no reason why you guys can't be the next ones setting the pace for other people in your generation. So I highly encourage you to take action. You have a goal or a dream that you want to do something, just do it. You want to know how I ended up in the Arctic Circle speaking to a country that had just gotten high-speed internet? I responded to a tweet. I was laying in bed reading Twitter, and I responded to a tweet. And 6 months later, I found myself in the Arctic Circle. So I highly encourage you, if you have a goal or a dream, there's no reason why you can't change the world and do something. Your age has nothing to do with it. I thank you guys for having me in, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'll be standing over here. Thank you.